We got some massive news as Kent Hughes spoke out on the Got Your Back podcast today as he revealed the Habs trade plans going forward for the type of player they want to target and exactly what and when they plan to move their goaltenders. We got to talk a lot about that. Plus, Kirby Dach is back skating, and we got an awesome note about Juraj Slafkovsky, a bunch of awesome stuff, so stick around for this episode of Habs Digest. We're just going to dive straight into this, Jesse, and we got some big Kirby Dach injury news. Now, by all accounts, he's still not going to play yet this season after that brutal knee injury suffered early on in the season against the Chicago Blackhawks and Jarred Tinordi, former Hab. But today, Kirby Dach is back on the ice as we retweeted there because it's nice to see him. He said some exclusive images. He said he wanted to take some more, but Kirby left the ice just 2 seconds after, and they know what they're doing. They know there's media at these practices. They know, let's show him Kirby Dach. Now, I'm sure Kirby was like, I just want to skate. It's probably not this big plan, but Jesse, regardless, it feels so good to see him back on the ice, even if it's just in that very brief 1 or 2 minute capacity. And you got to think that gives a nice little boost to his teammates as well.
It does, and definitely for him, because he's been hanging around the team all year long, just showing what a great team player he is, but it just warms our hearts so much just because we know what a talented player is, what he can bring to this team. And I think especially of late, we're getting even more excited to see Kirby Dach coming back, just seeing our guy Juraj, like the way that he's using his size and really, just his skill on the ice, that combination, like Kirby Dach has a lot of these same tools as well. So great at protecting the puck, that puck possession. So, just seeing what Slav is doing right now is really getting me so excited to see Kirby back on the ice very soon.
Yeah, and who knows what that power play will look like. That we were talking about before the show. Newhook looks great, but Dach on that first power play, you added in Lane Hudson, you got a spicy meatball. It's going to be amazing. So happy to see him there. Just wanted that quick update for you guys because, it's a bit of a feel-good story. But we'll move on now to some of the good Slav stuff, and it just keeps getting better. How is that possible? Every single time we talk about Slafkovsky, it's just getting better. Well, we got a bit of a comparison to show you. Now, full disclosure, this comparison, I don't like comparisons like this, especially early in their careers, but it's a guy that we've heard a lot when we're talking about Juraj Slafkovsky, and that's Xhekaj Hughes. Take a look at the two former first overall picks and their production through 92 career games. Xhekaj Hughes, 14 goals, 37 points, 5 power play goals. Slafkovsky, 15 goals, 37 points, 6 power play goals. And this just fully ignores the hits that Slafkovsky is racking up. And, of course, his ramping up production as of late. Now, these are quite different players, and maybe it's better for us to compare with Slafkovsky with someone more like a Rantanen like we did in previous episodes. But Jesse, still, all things considered, for the people that wrote him off as the bust or whatever, it's just sometimes players have slow starts. Some players are established already, ready to go. Some have slow starts. And just for one little final thing before I get to you, if you look at Slav's first 82 games and you just take that as one season and you put that to the side, and let's say his 83rd game was the start of his second season, he'd be over a point per game in his second season. Just unbelievable stuff.
It is. And even for the month of February, Nick Suzuki and Juraj Slafkovsky are in the top 3 for scores in the NHL right now, following only Connor McDavid right now, right? So Connor, he's got the 10 points in 9 games, mostly just 9 assists, 1 goals, whereas Nick, who's in second with those 9 points in those 4 games, getting plenty of goals. We got Juraj with 7 points in those 4 games. Like, we're starting to see these statistics right now. It's really painting like an interesting picture of kind of Slav's development and where he's going to really go in the future. It's just so amazing to see just not only how he's really improving, but how he's affecting the team in such a positive way. I was seeing some statistics earlier as well that before having Juraj on the power play this season, the Habs were 24th in the league in terms of scoring. Now, with Juraj Slafkovsky on the first power play unit, they're now 9th in the NHL for power play goals, which absolutely amazing to see because this has been a sore spot for the Canadiens for a long time, not having a good power play, just going so far back. So to see that Juraj is having an effect on this of really bringing up the power play, helping, not only is he turning into a star, but he's helping even his teammates to develop even into further stars. What we're seeing clearly now with Nick Suzuki, Caufield really couldn't be playing hotter hockey right now. It's just tremendous to see his overall effect on our game.
Yeah, and don't forget on that list, too, if McDavid didn't have that 6 assist night last night, there's a world where Suzuki and Slav are number 1 and 2 on that list up to this point for the month of February. Yeah, everything Slav is doing is phenomenal. We knew from early on this season, the way he played, he was playing winning hockey. He was playing great hockey. He looked amazing. The points just weren't coming. And Habs fans, including us, were like, nah, it's going to come. The points are going to come. And sure enough, they're coming in bunches right now. But the great thing, too, is that he's not letting that get to his head. He was asked, hey, you're on a big point streak. Like, who do you think is allowing that to happen for you? How do you think it's happening? He's like, really? I don't know. He's like, but I'm just focused on winning games. He doesn't even care. I'm sure he cares a bit. I'm sure we all, but still, the fact that he's just like, nah, I just want to win. Like, I don't really care about this individual stuff. It's the mark of a guy who really, really, truly wants to get better. And if you look at that time where the Coyotes tweeted out that thing saying, oh, imagine not picking Logan Cooley first overall. Since then, Slav has been smoking Cooley in point production and pretty much everything across the board. So just amazing stuff from Slav, and we know we'll see a bunch in the future. But Jesse, we got some juicy stuff, some trade stuff, and Kent Hughes was speaking today on the Got Your Back podcast with Reinbacher and Pierre Lebrun, also with Mike Johnson. They interviewed him, and he had a bunch of interesting things to say. And the first thing I want to talk about, Jesse, is this quote here. He mentions that he wants to continue adding established talent in a certain age range. It sounds to me like he might be cooking something.
Someone cooked here.
It's Kent. He's ready to cook, Jesse. What do you think about this comment? Before we get into the goalie stuff, that's coming later. He had some great comments about that. I like that he's just saying, this is straight up what we're going for. And I think it's really revealing as to what his plans might be.
It is, absolutely. And it's going to be very interesting to see how he defines both young and established going forward, right? That's going to be really important for this team. Now, if we look at a player, where there's a lot of speculation around right now in a Trevor Zegras, I would argue, young of a certain age group that Kent Hughes is looking for right now. Is he necessarily established though? Probably not. I would say there's too much inconsistencies in his game just to say, okay, this is exactly this type of player. This is how he's going to project for the rest of his career. But it's going to be, I completely agree, this is the right path to take both young, but then also established, within the league. We really know what we're going to get in, year out for them. I think that this would absolutely be an amazing combination for this team.
Yeah, and it's something that we assumed he was doing, but he never directly said it. I mean, with the Newhook acquisition, the Dach acquisition, but he's just saying, yeah, I still want more, right? And he even spoke about those. He said those things too, like talking about plans for the trade deadline. He's like, sometimes these deals don't get done at the deadline, and we make those moves in the offseason. He's kind of pretty open about, like, not specific details. He wouldn't do that, but yeah, I mean, clearly the plan going forward is to add maybe more of these guys, maybe less so redemption projects. It's tough to get exactly what he means when he's obviously not going to give you all the information, and no one expects him to, but to try and glean little bits from this stuff, I don't want to overanalyze it, Jesse, but does this make you think that he might be cooking something, if not for this deadline, for this offseason, to add at least one or two more guys? Because, like, it sure sounds like he has a game plan and he wants to stick to it.
Kent is always cooking, that was our Emmy moment there earlier, but it's like when you got these draft picks like that, you're always happen to be looking and making some deals, right? And what's so interesting is in this interview, it's so interesting he says, like, with GMs is like, you're not always waiting for them to call you. Like, once a deal's been made, like in the case, where some trades were made recently, it's like, you're now calling and seeing, okay, now where do you stand now that this center's off the market? So Kent isn't waiting for deals to come to him. He's really, okay, the market's changed. I'm getting on the horn, calling these GMs and kind of seeing how we can adapt here. But I mean, I think that this is a great game plan going forward. I think he's really understood, what we want. And he said he's not like opposed to getting an older, more mature type of guy. Of course you need that, but he's definitely established the type of player that he is going for. I think that that's so great because we want to have that consistent kind of success year in, year out, kind of fit that age group. But if we can find that happy medium between established and young, a player of a certain age, because that doesn't always come together, right? Established and a young player. It's almost like it takes a little bit of time, but if there's anybody that's going to really find that happy medium between those two things, it's going to be Kent Hughes.
Casey Middlestat. I don't know. I kind of agree with you that maybe it's not the best fit. I'm just saying he fits the description. Not gonna toss any rumors out there, but I completely agree with you. We got some other stuff too, though. Yeah, it could work. We got some other stuff too, talking about the goalies. Oh, that's the wrong picture. This is the picture. Follow Habs Digest on Twitter, by the way. Tweeted this out. Didn't see anyone else tweet this out other than Pierre Lebrun himself. So follow us if you want the best Habs news. But Kent Hughes said he's confident that a goalie move will happen between now and next season. And we want to know what your guys' thoughts are. Should this happen before the deadline? To go a bit more into detail, I got his real quote here. He said, "We've been focused on looking for a trade partner to move a goalie out. The goaltending market hasn't been very active, as we know. Listen, there are different elements to moving a goalie. You can't just put up a sign outside your house and have it done in a day." He goes on to say, like, does it happen between now and the trade deadline? I can't promise that it will. Do I anticipate going into next season with 3 goalies? No. He straight up said no, and he later doubled down on the idea that keeping Jake Allen if they don't get the deal they want will happen. So basically saying, like, if we don't get what we want, we're cool waiting till the offseason. It's not what a lot of Habs fans want to hear, and even Kent Hughes acknowledged it's not fair to Jake Allen and Cayden Primeau. He said that. Or he said Allen and Primes, which is Primeau's nickname, which we knew it. I don't like it, but it is what it is. What are your thoughts on this, Jesse? Like, he kind of acknowledged it's not ideal for them, but he said they're being professional, and even despite that, even despite the difficulties, he's not afraid to say, if I don't get what I want, I'm going to wait. Too bad.
Because he has all the leverage right now. You know, Allen's not on an expiring contract. It's not like if he doesn't trade him before the deadline that we're not getting anything back. And, you know, Pierre LeBrun very adeptly mentioned on the pod that, you know, a lot of the time these goalie trades, it does kind of happen more in the offseason. There's a little bit more flexibility. He's mentioned that, you know, Kent Hughes has, you know, some GMs have probably said we're willing to pay this price, but just more probably in the offseason we can do it. Now, do I think that there's still a high likelihood that it could happen before the trade deadline? Just because I feel there's a lot of teams that really feel like they could compete and could benefit from Jake Allen. Absolutely. But I mean, you know, I think I totally get Kent's rationale that if it doesn't happen for the trade deadline, yeah, absolutely. You're best served just to wait. You're not losing anything. We're not going into the next season with it, but get these better draft picks because, I mean, you know, where this falls, it matters. You know, we have to remember that with a second round draft pick, we were able to get somebody like Elaine Hudson who, you know, arguably is going to bring a lot of value to our team. So the difference between a 4th, a 3rd, a second round draft pick can sometimes be huge. So being patient and we're really waiting till the right deal comes along, I think is the right move.
Yeah, I think it's the right move. As much as we'd love to hear moves before the deadline, I think they can still happen. He also mentioned someone like David Savard. He mentioned a lot of different guys. It sounds like he's cooking. So we'll have to just wait and see. But what do you guys think? Do you think a goalie trade should happen before the deadline? Or are you kind of on board with Kent saying if they don't give him what he wants, we're totally cool. Wait until the summer. We'd love to hear from you. But that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. You guys subscribed like crazy on the last video. So if you're still watching now, go look at the subscribe button. If it's still red, click it. You won't regret it. I promise. I've been your host, Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.